Alright.
You sure it's recording?
Yeah, I'm sure.
Alright.
A challenge as well, which is something I'm accustomed to. Living his reject dreams.
I never pressed record.
Why you was scared to say that?
I don't know.
Nigga was scared
Yeah,
to
it's
say
not
he was
really-
like as if it's record. Press record right now. That's embarrassing.
That's
Tell
new.
the people
That's
about
new.
what you just did.
Yeah, right now.
Chip on my shoulder rap, roses and never sleep, they don't take no naps. I turn when it's not a frame, it's that mobile. When I leave the cages, when I fade the black, ran it up like Forrest Gump. It's St. Paul, but you never really made it back. You kept racing, praying to reach, chasing, keep calls and stay on track. Had the drugs, you never felt the way the world, better yet, away from the plug, scared of crack. I sold in the auction house, keep hearing what they say about that. Brooklyn rapper, aristocrat, RC inside and player match. Trailblazing and paving waves when I spin the globe, I'm connected across the map.
Tell them about what
Your
you
boy
just
never
did.
pressed record on the fucking thing, but now we here. Everybody, let's cheer for that. I pressed record. All right, yo, it's your boy, Faking No Moves, No Politics Podcast, your weekly dose. If it's worth talking about, we talking about it.
Yes,
ARTZ, my brother, my first big brother, my blood brother. We in the building. How you doing?
I'm blessed, man. I'm happy to be here.
Yes. We got a lot of things on the horizon. We got new music. We got events, NFT space. We gonna talk all about that.
Yep.
What up, though, Junebug? We in the building.
Yes, sir. Happy to be here. Honored to have him. I said this before, but I gotta say it again now. That intro was made by your boy ARTZ. It's called No Politics.
Yes, it is.
So, but yeah, just happy to be here. Happy that you pulled up. You know what I mean? We've been wanting to do this.
Yeah, it's an honor.
You've been
Thank
pushing us to do it, like you had said before.
Yeah. I gave a great intro, man.
This
intro had to be
you
like...
killed the intro and then
summary
you
of it.
rushed this one instead
Yeah, I
of
rushed this one.
Someone's
He
like,
did kill the
someone's like,
intro.
I'm faking no moves. This is your weekly dose. Then introduced you. Then said Junebug was good. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, but basically, like, before when I fucked up, I said, like you alluded, you've been pushing us to do this podcast. You know, you've seen our growth. You've been there since day one. Mm-hmm. Me and you are actually family. So, you know, you've always been a big brother to me, always pushing me to do things like this. And it's an honor to have you here. And, man, like, you know, I want to get into the shits. Like, what's going on? You got music. You've been traveling. Like,
yeah. No,
I'm saying, let the people out there, if they don't know, they got to get familiar.
Yes, certainly. A lot's been happening all at the same time. I'm blessed, and there was plenty of challenges along these blessings that I've learned from a lot too. I was looking back the other day at my year, and I was like, wow, like I got a lot done this year. Even though we were in a pandemic, like my life changed a major course, you know. So it's been really crazy, but yeah, a lot happening all at the same time. And, I'm honored to be here first and foremost, because in life, sometimes, you could push people, but it doesn't mean that you're going to actually make them act on the things that you're trying to, maybe encourage them to do. You know what I'm saying? So to see you guys episodes in, working hard, creating good chemistry, like, those are things that are super. Being disciplined is what gives you accountability to hold yourself to greatness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's facts. And discipline is something we talk a lot about too. And I remember when we first started talking about discipline and shit, it was because you brought it up.
Yeah.
I remember you mentioned it to Aaron, and then we really started getting into discipline. And now we've really been talking about discipline a lot.
Yo, I feel like discipline has been the thing that has helped me grow as a man. As a leader, as a son, as, just like a person. Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been crazy because and it's the little things too, right? It's like, yo, I just, ate and those 2 dishes are dirty. I could go and sit on the couch and get lazy, or I could just clean them dishes real quick. Bang. Let me get it over with.
There's a rule that goes along with the discipline thing that I've tried to implement, which is like, if you could do it in 5 minutes or less, do it now.
Yeah.
Something like 2 dishes, yeah, you could just sit back and be like, I'll do this later. It's just 2. But if it's just 2, do them shits right now.
Facts.
But yeah, discipline. That's a big one.
100%. You know, but yeah, there's a new album dropping. You know, next week called "Alone in the Metaverse."
Nice.
And you know, it talks about the journey of my life and the feeling of feeling alone and feeling misunderstood as we approach this new future, right? Where it's not a very like, you know, I'm not one of the corny types to make like the whole album specifically about crypto, right? It's about life and about finding love along the way through your struggles. And then also just being alone in your struggles sometimes too, where you have to like face the quote unquote man in the mirror and deal with it yourself, you know?
Low key, I think that's man important that you said it's about, you know, being it's alone in the metaverse, but like it's about like facing some of your battles alone and shit like that. It's about being misunderstood. And it's funny because Reject Dreams and everything, how you came up, and it's like the whole thing is about like being misunderstood in a way and being on your own shit. And it's like, it's funny, even as you continue to grow and become more successful, like that's still something that, you know, you could face, being misunderstood or being pigeonholed or being, you know, shit like that. And like,
That's real.
still thriving regardless,
to overcome and never giving up.
And still finding ways to maneuver it and navigate it. And bro, you do that. Like,
and you know what's the crazy thing is sometimes, you know, the things that you cast out there is the things that you manifest for your life, right? So sometimes the things you say out loud are the things that you start to like, you know, attract, right? So when I first named, you know, at the age of 15 years old, when I sat there and said, yo, my movement, my label, my lifestyle is going to be called Reject Dreams, it came from feeling like, you know, the kid on the classroom desk, feeling alone in thought, feeling like I wanted to be I see myself, like I was projecting myself to be somewhere much bigger and grander than this classroom at this time, right? But not knowingly, you know, when you choose those words, reject, right? Being rejected, right?
Now it's a fight.
And dreams came from the feeling of misunderstood. The truth is, throughout the journey of even my accomplishments and notable moments, you know, I still am feeling misunderstood, right? My fight is still the same fight, even as I continue to
have
succeed.
success. Yeah, it's crazy.
So that's one thing that it's kind of like, imagine like Star Wars with your lightsaber, right? Like like Anakin Skywalker had to learn how to wield that thing. It's a force and a power that you're given, but there's also a responsibility that comes with it.
Trauma. And we saw Anakin. He turned to Darth Vader because a lot of shit.
You're saying spoilers. I haven't even seen. I haven't even watched Star Wars.
If you don't know that, everybody know that.
Yeah, that's the you know, the basics. But I don't even know what I was gonna say. Sword at first, but I always compare it back to lightsaber because you know my former name and just like to be a Jedi, right, or to be a ninja or master at whatever you do, right? It could be your LeBron, it could be your Tiger Woods, right? Whatever, whoever it is, or whichever sport it is, you're being blessed with a gift and a power, but you're also having to face the responsibility of how, you know, the curse of being blessed almost. You know what I'm saying?
So tell us about that, like, you know, like. Alone in the Metaverse, you said it's like looking the man in the mirror and shit. And, you know, I wanted to add to that, though, like, with the way you described it, it's also some fucking vibes on there.
Yeah.
And anyone who's familiar with the No Politics intro, like, no, like, that beat go, that vibe is, and I'm sure they want to hear the original, like, whole song. That hasn't come out yet, but it is coming out soon. Next week, specifically. You could go pre-save that shit right now.
You can.
Yes.
Link in bio.
Yeah,
we'll throw it in there.
Yeah, facts. So, like, talk to us about that. Like, what can the people out there get from this project? Like, you know, any special things up your sleeve, and
I think if like let's say if we compared it to a week, right? Because it does have 7 songs and an interlude on it, right?
Okay.
every day is gonna be a different day.
I like
Some
that.
of them might have like hints and vibe. Maybe 2 days go by and it's a similar realm of mood, but it was a little bit different.
Yeah.
But then when the next day come by, it's gonna be a totally different vibe. But then they all the songs are speaking to each other too. So the way I kind of play the album in my head is like, if I teleported today from this world to a simulated world, right, in the metaverse, or if like the whole question of if you're alone on the island, what music would you listen to, right? I kind of went into that kind of trance during the album, and I sat there and said, yo, if I was to teleport into like this simulated metaverse future, right, how would I feel? What would I be running around listening to?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, think of when you play Tony Hawk, your Tony Hawk playlist that you skated to.
Facts.
Right?
Yeah.
Man, like,
So
if you know, you know. That's a good
Yeah.
reference. I like that because I was that kind of person. I got introduced to a lot of good music through Tony Hawk music, too. Like, even shit I might have not heard before because I'm hip-hop through and through. But, like, I remember
Tony Hawk was a different vibe.
It had different vibes, that skater vibe and shit, too. That
maybe
made
more
you,
underground, lo-fi type hip-hop.
And also the underground hip-hop shit was mixed in with it.
Yeah.
That was the cool shit about, like, Tony Hawk. So I like that reference.
Yeah, and then on the other side of the coin, I thought a lot about when I was doing the creative direction for the album artwork, I thought a lot about Will Smith in I Am Legend with his dog.
Oh, once you said that, me seeing the artwork in my head now, immediately saw what you were saying. So yeah,
So-
I get that completely.
So with my dog Lucy, she's
fire.
since the last album I got her, after the last album I brought a bulldog into my life, and anybody who owns an English bulldog knows there's a specific type of love that you love for a dog, right?
Yes.
But in a lot of ways, funny enough, like my dog, and I feel like anybody who has a pet feels like this, is like my dog. It's like my best friend in a lot of ways, you know? And in the times where I'm probably like feeling the most alone in life, you know, from the aspect of maybe task I have to do, the weight on my shoulders, she's always there. So I sat there and said, yo, I'm going to continue the theme of chilling with Lucy, and this time being alone in the metaverse, and it's just me and my dog.
It's I Am Legend vibes.
Yes, I Am Legend vibes, you know?
I Am Legend Metaverse style.
Yeah.
Woo!
So
with a different vibe for every day to get you through.
We might have to make the video game. That sounds pretty dope, actually.
That'd be fire.
We made an app for the last project.
Yeah. We was talking about that with Ty. We briefly
We
mentioned
brought
the
it
app.
up because he was talking about, tech and shit. I said, yo, and you made that app for I Love Lucy's. And he was actually rocking the I Love Lucy's sweater.
Hoodie, yeah.
So, yeah, that's dope. That was another. And I also realized that, too. And I was going to say that, like, the I Love Lucy's cover to this cover is like kind of the evolution, but still in the same
Vein,
realm.
yeah.
Like, so
I thought a lot about that during the process of the art direction, too. The artist on that is this kid named Boldy, who's from Brazil. Shouts to him. But
Word.
literally, I was DMing this kid for 2 years straight.
Wow.
And he just, I guess his DMs was getting so cluttered, or maybe he didn't follow me. And then right around like 4 or 5 months ago, boom, I hit him.
Dope.
And me and him was just going back and forth. And I was just like, yo, like, I know you. At first, he created another version of the album artwork, and I'm going to later release that as NFT. But I was like, no, man, I'm thinking of something different. And I knew I wasn't his easiest client, let's just say, right? But at the end of it, he actually told me, he said, yo, thank you for pushing me for this.
Wow.
Because usually I don't have to go a second.
You know, it's fun. It's because you have your ideal vision of it. So, like, if it's not that, you're gonna keep working with the artist to get how you're picturing it.
Yeah, I don't like to settle for mediocrity or what I don't feel, at least.
Yeah.
At least, even if somebody could criticize and say, oh, it doesn't wow me, right? Okay, but I created what I felt, and that's how I felt it should look. And I approved that, and I said, yes, that's how it should feel. Versus me accepting the first thing and maybe settling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
You're not settling for just anything. Like, I understand. That's dope.
But all in all, if it's one sentence, the love you find along the way is what Alone in the Metaverse is.
Dope.
You know what I'm saying? Different palettes, shades, colors of that. You know what I'm saying? And a whole art collection's coming out with it, as you said.
Yep.
You know, this year has been crazy for me in the NFT crypto community, blockchain community, Web3, whatever you like to call it. You know, but even that is a testament even more so to my journey, because I've been throwing paint parties and art shows for like the last decade, man. Like, and y'all know that I've been releasing music with actual visual art and comic books and hoodies, like, you know, like Ty had on pieces of things like that for my vision.
The video game, the app.
You know, and I don't even want to say just me. There's been a combination of different artists that have lived within the Reject umbrella
And seeing
that
your
have
vision too.
seen my vision and contributed to it, and
Yes.
continue to create with it. And there's artists that still do, which I'm always blessed for, you know, especially being in the position of a rapper, right, and a hip hop artist. So, yeah, there's a whole NFT collection that's coming out with it. That's gonna be dope. It's like an exhibition, so it has a bunch of different visual artists interpreting different songs with art. Some are animations, some are illustrations, some are merch pieces.
That's
you know. So that's what you know. That's what we're coming with when it comes to the album. I got Styles P on the album.
Woo.
Trinidad James.
Legend.
Yeah.
Trinidad
James
that-
track goes hard.
And that record's out right now too. So
Keeping
that's
receipts.
one of the records that's on the album. That's a joint right there.
Yeah.
And it got an
joint.
NFT. It's an NFT, and you could buy like
Yep.
you could buy it as an NFT and get the track too, right?
Yep.
And then there was something you was talking to us about the utility of it. Like if you get
Yeah, the utility I created was cool. So, this is what I'm gonna spin a block real quick. This is what I want to say. Like, in the journey of me dealing with art and being an art dealer, right? A curator with the shows and the events over the years, I never fully understood, besides the fact of my appreciation for art, why I decided to make that turn in my career as a rapper. Because one, it would have been more cost efficient to just do regular music venue shows, you know, and not have to worry about hanging art, this, that, and the third, right? But for some reason, my soul called me to that. And maybe it's because, you know, my father's side and mother's side of the family have a lot of visual artists. That's something I always grew up admiring. Maybe it's because my grandmother brought me to museums, right? My name, ARTZ, right? These are all things that just kept pointing me in the direction of art or being in that world and business, right, industry. So it's very interesting that the NFT space is just more of an affirmation to me as being a visionary, and it fit like a glove.
I was gonna say
That's why, like, there's a lot of people that's in crypto and blockchain that know a lot more than me, right? But the truth is, it don't fit them the same because I was actually in the field doing this type of work. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And that's why I feel like when the NFT shit started, it was a natural thing for you to be able to merge your music with visual art.
Yeah, I always say, I've said this before, I've never said it on the podcast, but I always say that the NFT thing blowing up was like the universe meeting you like halfway. Like it was already something you was doing. You was already on mixing the art with the music, and that was already your wave. And it's crazy because like you was a tastemaker for that. Like nobody was doing that.
Yeah.
You was doing that.
Yeah.
And so
Facts.
like now you mixing the art with the music, and it's like people wasn't getting it, or like, you know, people would get it, but it wasn't.
Only the nerds and
the people that really,
that would be like, yo.
I feel like this is the perfect
You was doing
moment.
comic books with this shit, like.
Shouts to all the artists that helped me.
Let me just say one thing.
They ain't believe in us. God did.
Believe. God did.
But
That's real.
But yeah, so then the NFT shit blows up, and it's like you fit right in. Like it took nothing. You was already doing that. It was like it was the perfect thing.
You know what it is? I think, it was. I compare it to the Cinderella moment where the slipper fits the foot perfectly. It's like, oh, it's her. Yeah, like you know what I'm saying?
Cinderella.
Yeah. So with me though, the interesting part is that, like I said, I'm still getting educated in crypto and blockchain, but I've been almost the perfect spokesman between Web 2 and Web 3. And the NFT art explosion is now a thing that makes my narrative a bit more intriguing. And the ironic part is that for years, as I was putting out music, I was having notable moments where I hit radio and I have famous people on my songs, and I'm still in the trenches with it. We still here, you know.
Facts.
Being a man of the people, being next to the A-list people, but then still being in the street with it. You know, that's literally was my, like, it was my reality, and it's crazy, you know. So in this moment, as I'm converting over, and people are now being introduced with the title NFTs, right? You have to almost see behind the glass and be like, okay, this kid is not a crypto rapper, but this is his world.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And now it's that part of my narrative has me doing shows with Busta Rhymes, has Styles P on the album, has Trinidad James on the album. And it's funny because sometimes I always get conflicted because I'm like, I know that there's some Web3 people that probably see me getting these moments, and it's probably like, man, this dude's an industry plant. He probably knows somebody here and knows somebody there. If for people who really know my career, know that literally I had no hookup to the industry. My hard work and hustle has been my entry into every place. Literally.
Facts.
You know?
A1. Preach.
Yeah.
So, you know,
and let's not get it twisted either. It's all part of the grind. This is where your calling and your path has taken you. But wherever shit evolves to, Web 4, Web 5, whatever, anything, you just gonna evolve with it. You gonna continue to do what you do because you love art, you love music, you love the culture. You know what I'm saying? So it is what it is.
100%. Yeah.
Facts.
No, that recently, like, people was like, oh, the NFTs are crashing right now, crypto's crashing. I'm like, but we still outside and we still doing this. This don't change.
Yeah.
You know, we still doing music, art, and it's not a thing that somebody can just sign up and say, yo, I'm doing this, right? In order to be an artist that collaborates and leads other artists, I had to understand my purpose in music too. In order to inspire them enough to be like, yo, what does this rapper know about contemporary art? And what is going to make me sit there and say, okay, you know, you might have created this comic book or this or that, but I'll help you create the dialogue or maybe change this to that. Most artists is going to sit there and be very sensitive with that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying?
You've always been able to collab and give input and find artists that also believe in your vision, like we mentioned before, and do this shit with you, you know?
100%. And you use the right word, vision.
Yeah.
I don't, at this point, before I used to look at myself as like hip-hop artist, art curator, event producer, right? Now I look at myself as like visionary, and then those things after. Because I always have vision. Before I even had rap, I have vision. You know?
That's dope. Facts. Yeah, man. Fucking, I was going to say something, too, about art. But, yeah, we always loved art, man, coming up. That's just been part of, like, us growing up and music and all that. You know, like, what about you, Jumbo? You got anything?
Oh, questions?
Yeah.
I mean, I got a lot, but it's funny because we started off and you was talking about discipline, and now you're talking about like hustle and hard work and the grind. And I always ask this question. I really like this question. You tell me if you like it too. But it's is there a human quality or trait that you hold in the highest regard? So like whether that's like the reason I'm asking, I was gonna ask it early on, but then we started getting into discipline, so I was just like, maybe it's discipline. But, you know, I know, me knowing you, I know the hard work you put in. So I know how much hard work probably means to you. So, like, to put it all in perspective, like, is there one that you hold above all the others in terms of, like, what's most important? You know what I mean?
Ooh,
to
that's
you.
a really good question, actually. Yeah, I like that question.
Yeah, I don't got my
Thank you.
Yeah. Gotta bring your cheat sheet out. But That's a hard one. There's a few up there for me. I can't just choose one.
You'd be our first to list a couple of like everybody.
Oh, really?
Like so far, yeah, they've chose one, and don't
No,
feel.
I'll answer if I'm answering the question, I have to choose one.
Mm-hmm.
I'll try my best, but there's like if you don't have like maybe I'm just like, you know, high as a ditty or whatever. I don't know, but there's a few you gotta have for me at this point. I got standards, yeah.
It's cool. And most people, when we ask, they got to take their time. Like they might lean back a little, be like,
Yeah, no.
Take
I
their
was gonna
time
like the
to-
joint and be like, hold on,
yeah.
this is a trick one. Yeah. I would say definitely.
Ring them off. Fuck it. Ring them
Yeah.
off.
I want to choose the wording wisely. I would say, yeah, discipline is one of them for sure. Like how disciplined you are shows me, like how much you're willing to sit there and put yourself under the microscope. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's something that a lot of people think I don't do to myself, but I'm like my own worst critic on the low. You know what I'm saying? I love everything. I love myself too.
But you
right?
have to have that balance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when I go home, I'm talking to myself in the mirror and I'm keeping it disciplined and G with myself, you know. Respect. I'm not gonna lie. Sometimes now I've been looking at that more than anything. Like if somebody shows, you know, like respect is a thing is in the manner of how they don't respect you, you could tell how much they actually do respect you or vice versa, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
In the manner of how much they respect you, you could tell much how somebody doesn't respect you by certain little mannerisms or things they do. And I've gotten to a point where I'm grown enough that at this point, I won't even deal with that person. Or I'll keep my distance because I'm like, you know.
Make boundaries.
Yeah,
Put
because
yourself
say that.
around the people that make you feel comfortable.
for sure. And not only that, but it's like.
Not to say like you can't be in uncomfortable positions in life because that's what life's about. But I'm just saying like with your boundaries, you know, some people don't deserve to be around sometimes, you know?
For sure. And I'm a person that a lot of the times I can enjoy being by myself, you know? So there's that part too. But I think with respect is more so like the graciousness that somebody in which how they deal with humans.
You know who you sound like?
Oh.
Ty,
Oh,
the
really?
sound guy.
Yeah,
You know,
that's my brother.
his answer to that question was Grace.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Grace,
Shit.
and he was going into how like he
I didn't see the
feels
whole
it's
episode.
so
I seen some
important.
clips. Maybe I just jacked his shit.
But he was saying how important it is in like for him, like seeing how people deal with other people, no matter what level they on, and how gracious you are.
He's somebody
in
that
terms
knows
of,
about that, being in the engineer world and
Yeah.
in that role. Yeah, no, and
Yeah.
I know about that too. In certain scenarios, I was the engineer. I was tracking engineer, and I'm an artist. You know, but I figured a way to get paid off that and have that as a service and hustle. But so I learned that in that role too. But just in general, like the graciousness on how somebody deals with people, and it could be anything from how you go. If me and you go and walk into Wendy's, and you talk to the person at the register, or the lady at the supermarket.
How you feel about like customer service lines?
yeah.
A lot of them is trash.
Okay, but
like-
are you still gracious with them?
Yes.
Okay, because
because
Aaron's a
not me.
dickhead to them.
yeah.
That's something we've been having
Don't get me
trouble
wrong.
with.
There's moments where I'm like, yo,
Listen,
I can't
Apple-
believe this. Are you kidding me?
Apple
You
needs a
know?
podcast division.
Yeah.
They don't know what the fuck's going on with the app. Sorry.
Yeah.
No, a lot of these major
Anyway,
corporations.
subscribe to us on YouTube.
A lot of these major corporations, the bigger you get, sometimes the harder it is to be gracious at customer support. It's just the truth.
But the
I've
thing
seen it
is,
with celebrities
I've
too.
I've been in the customer service field, so I know how to be good with customers. So when I feel like you not on point at your job,
He's disappointed,
I'm disappointed. Yeah, facts.
and he has to let you hear about his disappointment.
That's a standard that I've worked in customer service, and I feel like ultimately music is customer service. You know what I'm saying? So throwing events is definitely customer service. If people not enjoying themselves at your shit, you know, they can hate me, but if they enjoying the party, I'm doing good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're like, I can't stand that motherfucker with the bucket hat. But this party a vibe. And I'm going to come back to this asshole second. You know? Like, so, no, that's a big one for me. Then you got loyalty. That's something that, you know.
Yeah.
I'm petty like that. Like, if you're not loyal, sometimes. Well,
all
in my
the hood
younger days, I was a
tattoos.
little bit.
Loyalty, respect,
Yeah, all the hood. God.
discipline.
Yeah. What's the other
Only
one?
God could judge me.
Only
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, man, I think that's and then, you know, just love, like integrity.
Word.
Those are things like what, you know, people that I don't know that have integrity, you know, they'll sacrifice a certain amount, and they won't let their pride or ego get in the way of that. But at the same time, they'll make a right choice, and sometimes that might not be the popular choice, but they're still willing to take all the motherfucking arrows for it and the battle scars for that choice, you know. So I love integrity, and having integrity, because I feel like if you don't stand for anything, if you don't stand for something, you fall for anything. The famous quote, right?
Yep.
So
Another hood top.
yeah, another
Tattoo.
hood
Top tat in the
We got
hood.
the hood hot topics, the
That's
top
the state
5.
property.
Yeah, that's hilarious.
Yeah, man.
Nah, but I think those are really things for me, because overall, for me, it creates a character of a person. Like those things, like some people can have a sense of humor and some not, right? But I can accept a friend that doesn't have a sense of humor. I can't accept a friend that is not loyal. I can't accept somebody who is not gracious with how they treat people, who doesn't have integrity. I can't accept that.
Facts.
You know,
Facts.
I can live with the other stuff. You know?
Another question we like to ask here, but I feel like you kind of touched on it, was like, because I feel like it's part of the Reject Dream ways. Is like, was there ever a time you felt like, you know, you wanted to give up, but you didn't, you know, right? And like, and I feel like at the end of the day, when you explained, you know, what Reject Dreams is, like you said, like there were times probably like that, because you have to overcome triumph. But is there any like one time specific, maybe that you was like, man, this shit, I don't know, but like you still kept going?
Shit, I ain't gonna lie, man. Being a rapper and artist, shit, I used to never, like in my earlier part of my career, when I wasn't on the path of this being a career or figuring out like, okay, I've been doing this long enough, I need to get paid from it, right? I figured that out now. God, you know, God bless, right? I never thought about it because I was always doing it for love. And happiness, right? Like Biggie said, more money, more problems. You know, when you start looking at it from, oh, this is my livelihood, then there's a certain wear and tear on it that could sometimes feel like a job. And the thought runs in my mind, because I know I'm ambitious and driven enough that I know music and what I've chose is my calling, but I know I can be great at anything because I'm willing to work to get there. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, some people might take that as arrogant, but I take that as more so like being confident
in
and
yourself, yep.
and believing that
And
you can do
knowing that
anything
you have
put your
that
mind.
quality.
Yeah. You know, I'm from East New York, Brooklyn, Ridgewood, Queens. Like, there's not many people from where we're from that can literally say they've done even 1/3 of some of the things I've done from you know, and none of that shit means anything too, just for the record. Like, it means something, but at the same time, like, you're only as good as you are today. You know what I'm saying? So like, but you know, shouts to the homie Joseph. He told me that when we was at Art Basel in Miami, right before I was doing the show with Busta and Nori and everybody, he was like, yo, he called me by my childhood name, right, Nene. He was like, yo, Nene, like, you the only dude I know that was fucking mentioned in Time Magazine, or like, you know, written in Chicago Tribune or Yahoo Finance. Like, from where we're from, I don't know anybody that has done that.
And we all from
That's
the
facts.
same neighborhood, so
You know?
yeah, it's true.
So I say that to say, not even the accomplishments. Fuck the accomplishment part, right? But you can do anything you put your mind to. Because there was mad people that told me no and that I couldn't.
Wow.
You know, from the industry side, from personal side, making it in rap is like making it to the NBA. It is. You're right. Yeah. Right? But where there's a will, there's a way. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and when we were younger, I was there too, so I saw a lot of the early stuff too of like feeling like, people trying to make it seem like it's impossible to become a rapper and shit. Like,
they try to make it seem it's impossible for anything that you try to be excited for or say, yo, I want to do this. Yeah. Like, a lot of people are going to give you that pushback, especially if they're not going to believe it because they can't see it for themselves most of the time. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So that's where it's like the one thing I want to leave Earth is making sure that right there, that was the thing that was my mission in Reject Dreams. Making people believe that you could do it too.
Never could understand, like, when people felt like they couldn't dream or, like, fathom things. Like, yo, like, dream big. You could do anything. Like, go for it if you really feel it in your heart. Some people fall, like, victim to life in general and, like, responsibilities of life and feeling like they got to pay their bills and do this and do that. And, like, that reigns above their happiness. You know what I mean? Like, they'll put it higher than their happiness.
Yeah, sometimes you got to make that choice. You know, when you're out there and living, maybe just nose above water, or you're struggling. You know,
and I'm not knocking anybody that does it.
Of course
you know?
not. Of course
but
not.
Then there are the rare forms of dreamers that go out there and they have a way to balance both, take care of their personal life, their responsibilities, and still chase their dreams. You know.
Yeah, for sure. And you know, the truth is, there's a reality to it too. You know, you could be playing basketball, but everybody's not gonna be LeBron. You know what I'm saying? Exactly. But guess what? If you pursue basketball enough, you might not be LeBron, but you might end up being fucking Tyronn Lue, a coach somewhere someday, or assistant coach. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes, like I was listening to the commentary the other day from Mark Jackson, and he was saying, I was watching the Warriors and the Celtics game, and he was saying Gary Payton Jr. got cut.
I like this story. Yeah.
So many times. Wow. That he got cut from the Warriors at one point. In the second time that he was going to play for their G League, he asked to be their video guy, to study game tape, because he was about to give up ball.
Get a regular job as like their video guy just because he wanted to be around the team.
My dude is playing great defense right now in the World Championship. One of the most incredible one of the most incredible young teams. And he was at the edge of that brink of quitting, right, per se. But guess what? The truth is, even if life would have chose for him to be the assistant coach somewhere, he would have did that great.
Yeah.
Because he had the ambition to keep trying even when he failed, or even when he was cut. You know.
That reminds me of the Lakers show on HBO, and some people say it's like exaggerated and all that.
The Magic Johnson one.
I
haven't got to watch it.
It's called Winning Time or some shit. But
Yeah,
Pat Riley. They showed that, like, after he was done playing basketball, he had won a chip with Lakers and all that as a player. But after he was done, he didn't have nothing to do. He wanted to be a commentator. And he became, like, the commentator on for the Lakers and shit. And then, like, some shit happened where he eventually was talking with the assistant coach. And the head coach got injured or something happened. And
the head coach got injured.
The head coach was in ICU. I don't know how true this is. I don't do my research on this shit.
Just funny. I don't expect it. I don't expect to hear the head coach got injured. Like, that's not something I've ever
on the
heard.
court, he got put in ICU. Nah.
He must have been on his Jeff Van Gundy shit. You know when Jeff Van Gundy got to the brawl, he was under Ewan's legs.
So the fucking assistant coach built the relationship with Pat, and Pat was helping him as a commentator, like run schemes and giving him advice. He
basically
said,
coaching his team.
Become my assistant, because now he was the interim head. Become my assistant, and that's how Pat like got in the door, like and they ended up like winning the chip that year as Pat Riley's first year as the assistant coach.
Meant for greatness.
And the interim coach was like melting down, like, yo, I don't know what the fuck, I can't handle this, I can't be the coach.
He was low-key saving the day.
And Pat was like, get your head in the fucking game and let's fucking go. We got Magic, we got Wilt, we got Kareem, we got Magic, like, you know. So yeah, that's what that reminded me of, like the
No.
Gary Payton story. Like yeah,
That is, I speak for those people.
yeah, I'm a lot
I speak for everybody. I feel like my music ranges to where the life of a reject. I feel like everybody's a reject dreamer in some way. The mother with 3 kids, single. I think my mother at one point, right?
Yeah.
Like the dude out there working a sanitation job, trying to take care of his family. You know what I'm saying? Like the kid that's 17 years old, not thinking about maybe skipping college. Maybe he might go, but he really wants to just go to produce beats.
Yeah, I feel you.
That's my audience. Like it's the person that was told, they couldn't do, And sometimes you're not gonna end up maybe where you romanticize you want to end up, right? But you're gonna end up where you're supposed to be if you're putting in that work. And that's why sometimes, like, when the slight notion of, like, how you said before, the idea of quitting comes to my mind, I just be like, yo, I just gotta keep going. It's just I'm gonna quit now. I got fucking Styles P on the album. Like, my favorite rapper
Say
is
that.
Biggie. Like, I'm rocking stages. Like, I rocked the stage and booked Busta Rhymes this year. Like, he's the greatest performer in hip hop history.
Word.
And me and him tore it down. Like, killed it. So,
Bust the bus.
like, that's when I'm like, yo, even though life has given me a humbleness where, like the other day I was at the ice cream show.
Word.
The
store.
Billionaires Boys Club, yeah. And while I was there, I was rolling up. And I have a certain humbleness to where it's like, you might see me in the middle of the street, you might not know who the fuck I am at all, right? And that's part of sometimes what can fuck with your head as a rapper, like the whole notoriety thing. Sometimes you judge when you're younger. You're almost taught that you're judged for how lit you are from how many people know you, right? For face value. I'm sitting and rolling up Dolo at this point. My videographer left. A couple homies I knew through the event, but everybody be in their little corners and stuff. And a homie next to me goes, yo, bro, what's good? I was at your event in November for NFT NYC. Yo, that shit was dope.
Wow.
And I was like, yo, thanks, bro. What's up? Like, what's your name? He wasn't even following me on the gram.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that, to me nowadays, is more a testament to where it's like, yo, I'm of who I am. You know what scene I'm on. You get it. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
You're looking at me as like a staple within the culture. It don't gotta be like you said, the word tastemaker. It don't gotta be to the point where I walk outside and fucking 1 million people rushing me. Sometimes I've been around that, and sometimes I don't really always like the idea of that. Like, I'm more of a private person anyway.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? In some way. And then I'll be outside other ways, but
It's about balance.
yeah, I'm the mayor one day, and the other day I'm like a yogi.
Yeah.
I just want my peace. So, but that is when I'm like, okay, I'm a brick and mortar brand and business.
I like that.
Reject Dreams is boutique with grassroots, with like the fucking coconut juice that you get, the coconut water that you get in Whole Foods, the shit that's pink. It's like, yo, they be in the big box stores, but I know that's some shit from like a farm and it's homegrown, right? Or like wherever it grows at, a tree, right? A farm.
I'm trying to start a farm.
Yeah, I want a farm one day. Word.
Facts.
Let's manifest that right now.
Facts. That's what it's about.
But yeah, like, I say that to say, like, I've accepted that that's the role right now that I've chosen to play with myself as an artist and as a company, and the mission statement for that company and that collective mind state and brand, right? But there's a way where you can do that and really make it work for you, and that's lately the stride I've been catching wind of, to where it's like, yo, I'm gonna use the fact that I'm homegrown to be ever more reason of my leverage and my bargaining chip, because the people who do know me are the people who really matter.
Exactly.
Because they're the ones that are in these pop-up shops and ice cream store and over here in the middle of the LES and over here in Williamsburg.
So that's why they got to pull up when you got your events coming up, and you got some
Sure.
events coming up for this project
Yes.
and for NFT NYC.
Yep.
And tell the people about that and where they can pull up, because the community is welcome. You know,
Everybody welcome.
all the good human quality people, the good souls that like art and discipline, pull up.
Yeah,
And
no, that's
music.
real.
And music, yes.
Yo, believe it or not, even when the janky people come through the doors, they leave the janky energy behind because the energy too good at the Reject Dream event.
Facts.
You know, but SOBs, June 22nd. This one's real special to me because it's my first headline show at SOBs, and I booked it.
Nice.
You know what I'm saying? Which I love the ring of that. Most artists
Yeah,
want
no.
to. I'm getting booked now, which is a blessing, right? But it came from showing people that I can book myself and
That you're
create the
capable, yeah.
experience.
Facts.
That
You know.
that detail can't go overlooked.
Curator.
Like, and you've been
Yeah.
curating shit, and
Highlight
like this is
that.
big. Yeah.
This is your
You
event.
booked the whole shit.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm investing in my own proof of concept in order to prove to somebody else this is the reason why you want to book me.
exactly.
And you know the vibes are going to be right all night.
All night. It's gonna be crazy. We doing a live concert, half an hour of music over the that I've dropped, and some of the new music I'll be performing too.
Yeah.
It's gonna be crazy. We have a whole NFT art exhibition that's coming with the Alone in the Metaverse album, custom to each song. We have an amazing sponsor, Naja Dow. We're highlighting 15 different African artists, visual artists. It's gonna be a great night. And then I'll be speaking at the conference too. That'll be on the morning of the 21st. On Monday, I'll be hosting a party, the 20th, at the Penthouse. Shouts to Honeyland. Their Solana PFP project. So now, music and events has also brought me these different type of looks too, where I'm incorporating my music in different types of settings and I'm hosting different types of parties and things like that.
Dope.
And then I'll be performing at the Over Yonder Music and Camping Festival on the 25th, Saturday. And then the album drops on the 24th. So next week is
Big
like
fucking
the
week.
busiest week of my life. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tap in. All the links will be available, and come through. RSVP. Good vibes. Good
Yeah.
energy.
Yep. All free to
Facts.
get in. Yep. All free to get in. Just RSVP and don't text me when you're outside. I had to
It's
leave
gonna be
that.
too busy.
Yeah. Last year,
If
I
there's a
love
line,
everybody.
You gotta just
Dug it out. It's summer now.
This is how it goes. Like,
Yeah, not only that, but for this, for the SOB show specifically, what I learned too in the course of this last year doing events, I did events in Denver, South by Southwest, NFT LA, New York,
talk
Art
about that. I
Basel.
wanted to definitely highlight that too. Like, you were in other states doing your thing too. Facts.
Yeah, yep. It started I've been throwing events for a while now, but this ring of like music, NFT, crypto, art events, it started at NFT NYC in November. It's crazy. Brought out like over 2,000 folks, lines wrapped around the corner. I overwhelmed myself. I was like, what the hell? 3 floors, bugged. Then we went and did Art Basel in Miami with Busta and Nori and Murder Beats, and that was crazy. But we did a whole little week of activities. I was doing pool parties here. I was doing then the concert there. Then, just when I thought I had the vibe, and I'm like, yo, everybody's coming outside with me, I got hit with a curveball, and they're like, yo, eat Denver. And it's like, yo, it's kind of cold out there, ain't it? And I was like, yo, I was just busy looking like a superstar last week. I'm calling everybody, yo, come to Denver. Everybody like, nah, we was just in Miami. Like,
We ain't going to Denver.
so
It's
I
cold.
said, you know what? I'm going to go to Denver. I went to Denver. I made the trip happen with some visual artist friends of mine.
Dope.
Brought a different crew, but did our thing over there. First time ever in Denver. Then we did South by Southwest.
Smoke any good weed?
Oh, a lot of good weed, a lot of good food too. And Denver has great people as well. I was considering,
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson's changing the
He's
culture.
a really good dude. That dude's like,
Right?
yeah, he's
Not
a
wrong.
Really good. He seems like a really good guy. I'm
He
like,
does,
yeah.
he is. I know
real?
Russell. He's good.
Yeah.
Imagine.
Denver was amazing. I would consider living out there.
Was
sometime.
there a difference in the
Fire.
altitude in your breathing, like people say?
I guess there was, but I was feeling healthier in my breathing.
Nice.
Yeah, and it
I
was
think
amazing.
once you adjust too, you probably feel better. I mean, you weren't doing were you doing like high intensity activities?
No,
Then I don't think
not
you feel
really.
it. It probably
My-
won't hit you the same. Yeah.
Yeah, probably not. My homies though, they went snowboarding.
Oh shit.
Okay.
They went like 7 in the morning. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. At 7
You
in the
good?
morning.
Yeah.
Pass. But I've snowboarded before. But yeah, I performed out there, and my breath control, I guess, felt regular.
Okay.
Yeah. That was the only high intense activity I did. That, smoke weed, and eat pizza. You know, like,
Woo, that's intense.
yeah. But then South by was like 2 weeks after that. It was crazy, and then LA was like 3 weeks after that, and now we're back here. So
Word.
yeah,
And it's about to be another crazy week.
it's about
So,
to be. So I've been on
even
a-
at home,
yeah.
you can't rest right now.
Nope.
Facts, man.
This one's probably the most important because I'm hosting.
Yeah.
You know,
It's
it's
your
my
shit.
it's my city. People know that I'm from here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got the key to the city. Today I tweeted sincerely the mayor. All right, but yeah, no. I think life on the road has been very revealing as well too, and like a blessing as well, because it shows like, yo, you could be doing a lot of stuff, but if you overwhelming yourself and your bandwidth starts to become like maxed,
Yeah.
then
Balance. You
efficiency,
gotta have balance.
yeah, that efficiency starts to. So that's why lately I just been like, and in that time, this was the point I was trying to bring with that too. In that time, what happened was I started noticing, like, I put out the record with Ari Lennox in November, and that's when like this event spree started happening, right? And I said to myself, like, I was creating in those different cities and stuff like that. I was in studios, but I wasn't like at a focus point of like, what am I working on? Like, what am I working towards? I'm an album artist. So when I'm creating in like, yo, we in like this season right now, or this mood.
Feel you.
This is the winter fall season. I'm gonna create this. You know what I'm saying?
A lot of people don't know that side of you either, that you get in that bag when it comes to creating your music too.
Yeah.
You know, it's and yeah, man, I've been lucky to witness it, and you know, see you just make thousands of songs, and these people probably get to hear like 100 of the thousands. You know, and you know?
That's some true shit if I ever heard it.
Yeah, facts. You
Yeah.
know, so
But that's part of it too, right? Where I circle back and I said, okay, all year I was providing the vibe for the people. Now I gotta do that, and they was hearing music that they never heard from me before. So I was working my previous album for sure, but now it's time for me to go back to the drawing board and put some more into myself as an artist for a second, and really take all the blessings and the love I found along the journey. That's the line that is gonna keep coming up during this album campaign.
blessings and love.
Putting that into the project, you know. And I've really coined this project really a mixtape, not really an album, but everybody gonna call it an album anyway. So that's
original
Yeah.
music.
Original music. It's a vibe though. It's a short listen. It's like 17 minutes, but it's just like that high, and then it's like shit. I listen to it again.
I can't lie, I heard it already. Ha.
Yeah.
Shit's a vibe, but yeah, it's crazy, man. I'm lucky, I guess, but
Oh yeah. You have a fucking direct.
the whole
connect
world's
to
gonna
it.
hear it soon, though.
Yeah.
It's good shit.
In a few days.
Facts, man. Jumbo, you got anything else you want to think about?
Yeah. All right. So you're talking a lot about love and blessings along the way. Is there anything like along the way that kind of was opposite of that, like surprised you, humbled you, or so? A couple of technical difficulties, but to pick up where we left off, I was gonna ask you, while going through your journey, have you experienced a lot of like, you mentioned love and blessings, but have you experienced like the opposite of that, like some shit along the way that humbled you, or maybe that you had to learn along the way, whether it was learning it from other people or learning it from yourself, something like that?
Yeah, for sure. I think through leadership, I learned the most. And sometimes, being a leader, it wasn't the thing I necessarily always chose to do in my life. It was a responsibility that kind of like fell on my lap. You know what I'm saying? So through that, you experience the great moments, but there's also the moments of judgment, because when people see you bask in the light of greatness, or like you're aiming for that and always being that leader, their expectation of how great you are all the time, is a constant thing that you have to deal with. And sometimes you could let people down. Sometimes you might just be living in a human experience yourself, in a moment yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then sometimes even the way people meet you is a little bit different.
Yeah.
It might not be as genuine.
And especially now at the level you're at, when you meet people at this level, they expect you to get from you what you're at. Like, they don't know you like how we know you, or how we came up. You know what I'm saying? They know you just for whatever clout, in their mind, and maybe you like at their expense, like they're trying to use you in a way because they know you for a certain thing, So
yeah, and even if they, sometimes people want to, you gotta be of value, right? So everybody's gonna want to use you or utilize you in some way. But it's like that moment in the Michael Jordan documentary where he explains when he transitioned from basketball to baseball, and like how the guys in the clubhouse treated him like regular Mike, not like Michael Jordan, who won all these rings in basketball. Like sometimes you meet people along the journey, and it's like, all right, you can know maybe a couple of the achievements I had, right? But don't necessarily like rock with me because of my resume, or like, you know what I'm saying? And sometimes people categorize you and associate you with the things that like you do, or like that you got maybe written up about, right? It's like, yo, this ARTZ, he's in NFTs.
Yeah.
And it's just like, bro, first of all, I'm in music, I'm in art, I'm in NFTs and crypto, and music, art, events. I'm into community first. Don't, or they'll take the very last thing you did, like, yo, he just sold in an auction house with Andy Warhol, and this is my man doing, and it's just like, cool, you could read off that resume, but at the same time, don't just box me in with the guy that, yo, he's on Hot 97, and now I'm the Hot 97 guy.
Yeah.
The guy who just got on Hot 97, or the guy who just did this, versus like, yo, this is arts. One time my friend introduced me as a visionary, but he used the word a savant. And, I was very like, I was very grateful for that compliment, because, sometimes it's hard to like be a hybrid artist and wear as many hats as I do and still be respected for my craft, but also be respected on the fact that I am versatile and I bring value in a few different areas more than just maybe the average rapper. Because I'm involved in a little, a few different pieces.
More than one niche. Like, you can't just be boxed in. It kind of reminds me of the Kanye shit when he's getting interviewed in the car, and he's like, I don't want to just be a producer and shit like that. And even with when he's at the PD Crack interview, video actually, and he says, nah, I want to be up there with the rappers.
Yeah, don't box me in as a rapper producer.
Exactly.
Yeah. I respected that, and a lot of people watched that part of the documentary and was like, man, he bugging, like, but it's like, nah, bro, like, respect my shit the same way you respect homie on the block that you think might be a thug or this, that, and the third. Like, treat my, like judge my rap by my rap, not by who you think I am as far as how nerdy I am or square.
But the fact of the matter is, with at least in his situation, from the outside looking in, is like, they respected his beats more than his music at the time.
Yeah,
he had to
that's-
do what he had to do
yeah.
with his first album.
That's
and-
true, but sometimes
you know.
people can't see you outside the shadow they
Exactly.
create for you.
Exactly.
You know
You're
what I'm
right,
saying?
You're right.
They cannot see you outside of the shadow they create for you. So if they might have had an experience or two, or maybe they've known you for a few years and you have a specific bad habit that maybe you've always dealt with in your whole life, right? A lot of people is not going to learn to unlearn that. Even if you wind up discovering having discipline, being disciplined and changing that about yourself, people are always going to resort to like, yo, nah, that's your MO. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes the truth is, no, like, people change. We grow, we evolve. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, like, but there's a responsibility and power. And I've seen the blessings and the goods of that. But then I've also seen, like, how people could treat you when they feel like they need you. And the funny part is sometimes you could think you could think somebody could think by the optics of how you're presented that you might be in a better situation than what you really are. And I've seen that happen a lot in the rap game where, you know, you think dude's in a good situation and then dude's asking me for, like, money for Metro card. I've literally experienced that where I've met a rapper where I was like, yo, I thought this rapper was really out of here. And really he was struggling, but it was the perception of,
Wow.
you know? So you got that aspect of it too. So sometimes people, because they romanticize of like, yo, if this is the person that could get me here, then all I got to do is just like, and it's like, yo, sometimes everything that glitters not gold, right? Like,
Yeah. So, all right. So you're talking about like meeting people and you know how people treat you and shit. But in general, like I know you to have stories from the road, and you know you experience a lot more than I do. Like I'm beyond like you've experienced way more of life than I have. So like, do you have any like stories? Maybe like any favorite moment? Maybe it's a funny story. Maybe it's a life changing story. Anything like that.
okay, so this is funny. I'm gonna switch it up on you real quick. I'll switch it up. So speaking of that, right? Speaking of people thinking that they need you,
Okay.
right? So Art Basel happens, right, in Miami, and obviously that night was a epic night, right? It was a legendary night. I got to perform. I also produced the show, and I also got to book the artists: Busta, Nori, Murder Beats, you know, my homie Trinidad, you know, a few different people, and we rocked it. We killed it. So there was somebody that was an attendee of the show, right? That got to see the show and didn't know who I was, right? So this person sees us the next day in the club. It's actually the club where Nori shoots the podcast at, the Racket, in Miami. So this person asked, like, oh, shit, yo, we actually seen you perform last night. Yo, you killed it. I'm like, yo, thanks, appreciate it. And they wound up being with some mutual friends of mine. So we all did like a, you know, after the spot we was chilling at, the Airbnb we had was a pretty nice Airbnb. So we did like a pool party vibe, right? And we took everybody back to the Airbnb, right? So there was a specific somebody that like the minute this person met me, they were like talking music, but like I felt like I was being pitched something, right?
Oh, okay.
And the young lady was telling me, she's like, yo, she's like, you know, one of my inspirations is Shakira.
Okay.
You know, and she was like, the
I
way
have no idea where this story is going. But continue.
so, so I didn't understand where it was going either. Like, we're just all chilling, you know what I'm saying? And the truth is, my security guard is the one who hit it off with these people and their crew. Okay. And it was the night of the Busta event. So I'm like, listen, this is the guy protecting us. I'm going to trust him. All right, whatever. so the whole time she's like, every time she gets the moment to like speak to me, she's like, yo, yeah, like I fucked with your performance, and you know, like some of my biggest inspirations. I love music, but it's Shakira. She has like an amazing way. She uses her voice and the different tones and stuff like that. And I'm like, yeah, of course, Shakira is a legend. Like I love Shakira, right?
She start yodeling for you.
No, so Pete. So, boom, we're chilling, and every so often she starts singing, and we're in the club, so there's music going on. And she starts singing like whenever.
No.
Swear to God. So I'm ignoring it. At
Is she
first.
doing it like she's belting it, or she's
Nah.
like singing it to herself, trying to act cool about it?
Yeah.
Okay.
She's like, music's playing in the background, and she's like, she'll sing that song, but then like when there's the switch up, she was like rehearsing almost Shakira lyrics. Yeah, I swear.
Oh
So
my
we
God.
invite everybody back to the spot for like, we're gonna do like an after pool party type thing, right? And really it ended up being a barbecue, and all of us like drinking and just kicking back. But there was a piano in the middle of the living room in this spot, and it was like a very like Scarface-esque type of crib, right? So when she gets in there, she sits down on the piano.
No hesitation, walks right up to it.
And we're all like congregating in the living room area, and she starts playing piano and starts singing whenever, in like a in like a ballad. Yeah, I've never heard whenever done in a ballad before. But I was like, in my head, I was saying to myself, like, does this girl think I can sign her? And technically, I guess I could, but like, you know, we out here still working, and you know, I haven't decided to cross over into that market of music yet.
Oh man.
But when I'm looking for the next Shakira, maybe
You could book her to just pull up and perform Shakira music.
you know, maybe I get a Vegas night or something, like ARTZ Vegas night. I get like the fake Rolling Stones, you know,
Shakira.
fake Shakira. Yeah, but there's been plenty of stories.
But
on
like,
the road.
was she singing it like and playing the actual Shakira beat?
Or she was playing some.
She was playing that.
Oh
The
my
piano
God.
playing, I was actually like, okay, play a little piano.
But she
for me.
really does love Shakira. She knows her shit
That's
on
what
the
I'm getting
piano.
from
Like, damn, yo.
Is that she
so
really
it
does
was
fucking
crazy.
Shakira.
It was crazy.
That
But
was
yeah,
great.
there's been there's been really good moments from the road. You know, it's you know, sometimes I have to like, it doesn't soak in fully. You know, it's really surreal. Like even the night of the Buster show, I'm like, yo, I remember the first time ever when my dad drove around in his Acura Legend when I was 8 years old and played Busta Rhymes for me for the first time ever.
Crazy.
You know, and then I've went on to like be captivated and inspired by like music videos from people like him, you know, the great MCs and hip hop artists of
He's
the
one
world.
of the greatest performers in hip hop history. Some people say
Ever.
the greatest ever.
Yeah, I would say the greatest ever.
And I
performing for
seen
sure.
a joint about him, a little like documentary series, and they said that his video with Janet Jackson is the most expensive hip hop video of all time.
I'm sure it was very ahead of its time.
And his
Yeah.
videos always him and Missy.
Him and Missy for sure. You know, people like Big, people like Nas, Hove, DMX, they've captivated like my whole childhood with storytelling. Those are the people that really, you know, the Locks, like, you know, Mace, the list goes on, right? Like those are the people who painted what rap was to me. They were the soundtrack to my like me growing up in hip hop. You know what I'm saying? And to be being able to book these people, I'm producing the event too. So not even the side of like, yo, I'm rapping, but like I'm producing the event, and when I'm coming out there to perform, it's not like, yo, boom, I'm just slotting myself in a position that I ain't earned. It's like, yo, I just spent decade plus of my life
Facts.
trying to go in and hustle and grind and perfect my craft, and now I'm on stage with the same people that I looked up to that when it's all said and done are gonna be legends. You know what I'm saying?
True.
And putting myself in that company, and
Are legends already? Some of them.
Oh, they
Styles
all
is a
are.
legend for sure.
they all are. No, 100%.
Facts.
And that's the moment that's surreal for me. You know, when life has been like such how can I say this? It's been like I don't believe in irony anymore in some way. Like 6-7 years ago, I was working at Apple on Fifth Avenue, right? And I met Just Blaze helping him with his laptop. I met people like Jadakiss and Enough and all these people like working at a job. And I was utilizing that hub to network with these people. And then fast forward all these years later, my friend is producing Talib and Just Blaze's podcast. And, you know, I'm in like backstage with Talib for a couple days, and I bump into Just Blaze. Talib Kweli. I bump into Just Blaze at the Talib Kweli event.
Wow.
And now the introduction is different. Yo, this is ARTZ. He's killing in music, art, and NFTs right now. Oh, I know you. What's good? Oh, peace. You know, like, and these people seeing me in a different context. You know, when I told him, I'm like, yo, I haven't worked for anybody else in the last 6-7 years. He's like, as you should be. You know, and the truth is like, people who've learned to know me through my hustle from seeing me around a lot. Some of them haven't even listened to the music fully, you know? And then when they tune in, that's a surreal moment, too, to sit there and say, yo, I got Styles P on the album. I'm having records with people like the Ari Lennoxes of the world and, you know, Trinidad James and Smoke Dizzes and all the artists that I done collaborated with, but I'm an indie artist. So all of these moments were like accomplished through tenacity and my ambition and drive. You know what I'm saying? And then lo and behold, I bump into Just again. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, you can't knock the hustle. That's what it boils down to. Like, you can't knock the hustle, you know? And I sit there and say to myself, like, yo, Biggie was my favorite rapper ever. Like, to sit there and have a record with somebody that he signed and has mad records with him. And not, like, for me being from Brooklyn, you know, East New York, Ridgewood, Queens.
Well,
like,
Diddy signed them, but Biggie.
Yeah, but it was like, that was his
dude,
crew,
yeah.
you know? Yeah, to me, that's like an extension of the company I looked up to in music.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And those are good affirmations for me. So that's the one thing where, like, just like I said with the album, the constant theme is the love you find along the journey. It's the same thing. It's like to sit there and say, yo, boom, Styles actually performed at the event in Art Basel, and he didn't even know me at that time, right? So then he sees me at the podcast backstage, and he like, what up? And then 2 days later, he sees me at a show that he's performing at that I'm performing at. And when he sees me, he recognizes me and goes, damn, you everywhere. And that was a moment that cemented in my mind, because I was saying to myself, like, yo, for somebody that I grew up on to be recognizing, and the fact that I have, like, even some sort of relationship with him, like, that's to me so, like, I gotta wake myself up. Like,
nice.
You know?
So you mentioned like Styles, Biggie as like inspirations. Was there anyone more immediate around you as a kid that kind of like helped inspire you or shape your vision? You briefly mentioned your mom earlier, but like anyone like that, or, you know, closer to you that's more tangible?
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, like, my mom, definitely. My mom and dad were both staples in my life in two different reasons, like, or the same reasons sometimes too, which is interesting. Both of them were tremendously hard workers. Like, honestly, like, growing up,
Which is you.
yeah,
Same as you.
Yep. So that's where I got that, and neither of them like settled for less when it came to like hard work. They go out, like, I used to see my dad like wake up at like 4 a.m. to go get some bread. 3 a.m, like, dead out of his sleep, knocked, and he just got home at like 1 in the morning and wake up and go get to that chicken. And same thing with my mother, you know. And creatively, both of my parents were actually visual artists. My dad did drawing and my mom did drawing. You know, my mom, she would do things like fashion design and visual art, to where when we were kids and we couldn't necessarily sometimes afford the wrestler, or the wrestling toy maybe hasn't came out, she would draw illustrations of some of my favorite characters in wrestling and actually sew the fabrics of their wardrobes onto the construction paper, so I could use that as a kid with imagination and use that as if, like, now I have that wrestler, right?
Yeah.
My father used to draw. My grandmother used to bring me to a lot of museums, and she was the one actually who planted a lot of the seeds of me traveling early on. And a lot of those times on those travels, we would be going to like museums or galleries and stuff like that. She would be teaching me about art. And then my uncles did airbrushing, graphic design early on, you know, our uncles. Some of them were old school Puerto Rican cats that played conga, and, you know, was heavy into that movement. So it was all like these tidbits of information that I was being shared. And
graffiti
captivated
was always
by.
around too.
Graffiti with your
my
dad,
pops.
with my brothers, my
Yeah.
older brother, you know, for sure, 100%. Like, those things captivated me too, because I feel like those, if I'm walking through like a video game again, right, and I'm listening to a soundtrack of music, that's one thing. But then if I'm looking at the visuals will be those things. It would be subway cards being graffitied up. It'd be visual art of all sorts, you know.
Word. We cut from that cloth.
Yeah, that's what honestly inspired my imagination the most. I would say.
Facts. Yeah, man. But you know,
Yeah, you've been fucking waving that shit like in your left hand for the last fucking 15, 20 minutes.
And I didn't like it.
I kept thinking, like, I wonder if he's gonna like it.
It's a baseball bat, right?
But yeah, like, ultimately though, I feel like, you know, throughout all those inspirations and all everything that inspired you, you've always been like forefront, like spearing the movement of like being spearheading the movement of being a leader, like being into creating and creating something from nothing, art, mad shit, like just on different levels. Like, I know for me, it's easy for me to say that when I grew up with you all the time, like every week. There wasn't a week that didn't go by that like I didn't pull up to the crib.
He wasn't at the house.
You know what I'm saying? So like I seen it from day one, like, you know, like fashion, music, fucking art, everything, or video games. You even knew what was the hot video games, like you know what I'm saying? Like shit like that. Like you always had all the fucking XXL magazines, the Source magazines. You had mad shit that like you were just spearheading that, and that kind of inspired me as a kid, you know what I'm saying? Helped put me on the path that I'm on as a person who likes to be creative, and, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, a lot of people that grew up with us always say that. They always say that, even to me, like, yo, you, your cousin, y'all were the first ones. I remember 11 years old being like, yo, we got to chase our dreams. Like, fucking 9 to 5 type vibe, like, and we like in
11?
5th grade, 6th grade, yeah.
No, for real. I feel like
stressed over his potential future 9 to 5 at 11. That's
Facts,
crazy.
yo.
Like, damn, I can't.
No, real talk. They used to say that I was like an old soul because
It's funny as hell.
no, real shit. We used to create like fucking I would create video games in my head.
Bro, we created a whole comic book.
Yeah.
To tie back to like you being involved in artists creating comic books. When we were kids, on regular spiral notepad paper, like a whole comic series,
like
TV
create the
show
dialogue.
potential. We were thinking at like 10. We're like, this
fire.
could be a TV show and a comic, and we did like fucking 10 episodes, so it could be a series and shit. Like,
Yeah.
That's funny. That's
I
fire.
even took the book home to put in my little stories, and we collabed on it, like shit
And
like that, bro.
Yo, the funny shit is late at night when like we don't beat the video game, we would act that shit out as kids. me, him, and my other brother. We were acted out as kids, almost on some like funny theater shit, right? And that drastically came to an end because as I started getting a little bit older, sometimes I would fall asleep earlier than these motherfuckers. And they was geeked up on some sugar, like some airheads or some shit. So they'd be like, "Yo, wake up, bro! We gotta finish the episode." It's just like, dude, this shit ain't real. Like we ain't recording it.
But you was inspiring us. We was
Yeah.
inspired. Let's
Yeah,
go.
facts.
We got to film with a
Yeah.
fake camera. We didn't even have a camera. We pretended there was a camera in the room and shit. Like,
No, yo, I remember because I felt like the TV show was about something about us riding our BMX bikes. And we didn't even have bikes at that time. So we
Yup.
even manifested our
yeah,
fucking
it was
bikes.
like,
And
how
then
would we
got
want
bikes.
our BMX bikes to look? We described them. We pretended we had it. And it was
Yeah.
like this whole story. It was like a street kid
Yeah, that's
who
crazy.
wanted to go, like, honestly, like, go on the right path and not get in trouble. And, like some
That
real
sounds like a
drama shit.
dope little like children's tale. Like it could be like a children's tale. Like it's as simple as it's such a
Yeah.
simple concept of like riding your bike down the right
Yo,
path.
we might have to really do that,
Right?
though,
Like,
I was
down
just
the
gonna
right
say the
path,
name,
and
but
then
I'ma
there's-
hold
No,
off now.
yeah.
We gonna come back with some shit.
yeah, facts.
and then there's like all these like little distractions that he's trying to avoid and staying on the right path type shit.
Facts.
No, me,
I like
yo,
that.
but me and Ty, like me and my homies too, be doing shit like that. Like me and Ty have a whole cartoon that we want to one day probably
That's fire.
produce, you know. But I think that's, to me, that was the wave I was always on. Like, you know, sometimes I laugh when I hear like people like Dame Dash speak about it. Like, yo, why would I wear their clothes when I could wear my own clothes? Like, and at a young age, I will always feel like that. Like, I'm a fan of art before anything, right? So like, I'll never be bigger than the form itself. So that's why you're gonna still catch me in my Jordans or maybe my Prada or different things like that, right? But
Unless they got the bag and they don't want us to, you know. Nah.
but I'ma always rock my Reject Dream shit,
Facts,
my
facts.
merch. I'ma always, you know, I'm venturing off into doing more custom arts apparel stuff.
Okay.
You know, that's in
I
the
seen
future.
you posted some merch shit for the Alone in the Metaverse, and that shit look dope. as fuck.
Yeah. Shop me and the homie Amani have been, you know, like that's something I've always done with all my fashion
I
designer
seen
friends.
the hoodies are like stringless, which is like the new shit.
Mhm.
Fire, like, bro, I'll definitely, I'm in tune, bro.
Yeah, no, that's something I've always did over my career that a lot of people don't know either. Like I used to literally like creative direct like some of my designer friends to make certain clothes for me or clothes for the girls in the videos that I would, you know, direct or edit or
Word.
blah 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 be a part of, right? So yeah, like I was always big into like custom, you know, and not settling and understanding you're capable of doing anything that you could really put your mind to. So whether it's a clothing brand, whether it's you want to be a designer, whether you want to be a rapper, whether you want to be both, you know. And sometimes you don't, like I said, you don't always land where you imagine where you're gonna land. You could romanticize about like, yo, I'm gonna be, you know, like as big as this person or as big as this person.
Yeah.
But the truth is like you're gonna get exactly like he said, the universe will meet you halfway, you know, and you'll get exactly where you need to be as long as you stay consistent. So if music is your path, you know, the forces, the universe, God, whatever you believe in, will put you closest to music. You know?
I like that. That was deep.
Yeah. So, I mean, before we close out, I always like to ask this question, but I feel like you kind of answered it throughout. But the question is, how would you like to be remembered? Or, you know, like, what's your biggest mission in life? Or anything like that, something along those lines, you know what I mean? If there's anything you could add to it from what you've already said throughout the interview.
Yeah, for sure. Man, I want to be remembered as somebody who inspires you to go out there and get it. You know what I'm saying? I want people to think of my story and listen to my narrative as they continue to get introduced to me and understand like that I'm a blue collar dude. You know, I'm a blue collar guy from the hood. You know, didn't come off up up off rich circumstances. You know, never had a plug into the industry or the field of what I'm doing. I'm like the construction dude you see every day that's, you know, busting his ass every week just to feed his family. But I'm doing that through rap, through art, through tech, you know, and through motivational speaking by just like being who I am and hoping that one day when, you know, people get to sit there and take my catalog and everything I've done, they can sit there and say, yo, this you know, this person was reputable. This was some historic shit. You know what I'm saying? And be appreciated by the tastemakers, by the future visionaries, but by people across the board, because in some shape or form I inspired them to sit there and be on their hustle. Yeah.
And you're doing that, man. Every step of the way, you're creating your community, your tribe.
You've inspired us.
Like-minded people and dope creatives. You've definitely inspired us, like Junebug said. And, you know, it's been an honor to have you here. You know, you're going to be back anyway. You know, you could be a regular whenever you want. This is your platform, you know. And, you know, like he said, before we go, though, you know, just tell the people, you know, once again, what events you got coming up, the albums dropping, and yeah, they could pre-save it now. All the links are gonna be in the description and all that, but you know, let them know.
Yeah, for sure. Before I go on to that too, I do want to say I'm super proud of you guys too, staying consistent, you know, staying buckled down and doing your thing consistently. And believe it or not, like, my success comes with like the people I've planted seeds with just as much as it comes with myself. You know what I'm saying? So
Thank you for believing in us too.
No,
always.
facts. Because you guys are proof of concept of me, right? It's almost like maybe the OG from the block that you done came home with, you know what I'm saying? Or you was under their regime, right? That's how I look at all the people that came up younger than me that I was, you know, presenting my life and what I was doing to. You know what I'm saying? And to see what you guys are doing here, I'm proud.
Appreciate you.
Yeah, but you know, that's for that. For the record, no politics. You know what we doing. Big Reject Dream shit. RejectDreams.com. That's where you get all the updates. My Instagram just got disabled, so for now you can find me on @RejectDreams on Instagram, @ARTZ IG on Twitter. That's where I do more of my art and NFT talk. YouTube, you know, everything at RejectDreams.com. The show at SOBs on the 22nd, Wednesday. Pull up. It's going to be a vibe. Big movie vibes. What else? 24th, Alone in the Metaverse comes out. It's going to have a lot of different flavors, vibes on there. It's going to make you think. It's going to bring you into the pocket real quick in the cut and make you just like be able to digest it and see like the different flows and experiences I've went through while being on the road and while, you know, connecting. I've not only continued to tell my story, but I've continued to tell the story of people like yourselves too, people that came up with me.
Nice.
You know? So yeah, keep following the movement. You know what it is.
Yeah,
your favorite Reject Dreamer.
Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Yep. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on the notifications. We'll see you next week.
Peace all night.